Bathroom monitoring, the perpetual sex offense underway by third-party Stater Brothers, located at 646 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California, where the documented sunrise and maintaining the fake sun for the duration of the day, as I've documented that, into the evening. That is the impossibility that the sun would remain at the same address, let alone over the same person, and appearing under covered structures as well, where David Quinones is identified as a violent sex offender and a facilitator of sexual violence amongst the demon-possessed who were employed at the venue that is conspiring by murder and engaging in what is surveillance, not a grocery store, and the operations of a legitimate grocery store. And all the methods of harassment are also testifying to that. I want to document the entities stalking by the commercial airline planes that are stalking me in Fontana, stalking me in Rancho Cucamonga, on Foothill Boulevard, at the Fontana Metrolink train station, at the Fontana Lewis Library, doing so while I am at the Ontario Town Square. This is the entity that is stalking. This is the entity that is stalking me in the bathroom, and with that knowledge, they are sharing in that pattern of conduct. At 6 a.m., the entity, the commercial airline companies, which is the state, that's the people of the state, they are engaging in the pattern of conduct flying over my head, which is occurring at 6 a.m. at the moment that the grocery store opens. The people of the state are engaging in surveillance, molestation with engineer light, and also the sex offensive vagina monitoring. They're engaged in surveillance in the bathroom, in other words, and they also exacerbate that sexual violence and that psychological torture that's sexually motivated by then proceeding to break into the bathroom while you are already aware that someone is in there, and that knowledge is proven through the specific environment and through the government that is literally stalking in the parking lot. And while they're doing so at 6 a.m., there are no flights, not United Airlines, Alaska Airlines, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, that are headed to, as it is listed here, April 18, 2026 to Seattle, Salt Lake City, Dallas, Fort Worth, while they are hovering over me at the entrance of the Stater Brothers, as I'm showing you. All right, U.S. Foods is stalking in the path, maintaining ongoing peculiarized light activity, flashing lights on the vehicle. This is what they're doing while maintaining that light activity. The people of the state are entering in, they're crossing path, they're doing so in the engineer light. So this is someone that's monitoring by virtue of presence at the store, very malicious conduct, and they are engaging in and anticipating and engaging in what is essentially premeditated sexual violence, making sure that they are present to engage in vagina monitoring with the government. This is captured at 6 a.m. on the dot in the engineered environment, and this is where I'm at the location, Stater Brothers, that opens at 6 a.m., and this is where the entity is hovering, and this is not any sort of flight that is headed toward a destination, especially where toward the destination you're taking off at the airport, and miles away from the airport, you are not hovering over me at the entrance of the grocery store on Holt Boulevard. This, in the same way that you're not engaging in what is any flight to a destination when you are hovering over me, when the fake sun's hovering over me and you are crossing path in the city of Fontana, hovering over me in the city of Pomona, under that fake sun, that's speaking to targeting. And the entity's doing this at 6 a.m. And you can see this is the entity that's flying over me while I'm standing at the entrance, documenting the people of the state that are sharing in what are vagina monitoring right now, engaging in what is already established as knowledge as to who I am and what I'm doing. And then these sex offenders are monitoring inside of the venue with the employees, and they're engaging what is then proceeding to break into the bathroom, which is very threatening conduct, and it's also sexually motivated, and it's also psychotic, because they're engaged in what is monitoring with knowledge that they're being documented. Then they engage in more acts of terrorism, and that is terrorism while population is keeping you under surveillance in a bathroom and then trying to break into that bathroom. That's speaking to breaking into the bathroom even while they're knocking, as though they're ignorant, but they're not actually ignorant. That is a threat to the targeted individual. The psychological harms are what are at the outset, and what is ruling and leading in federal prosecution of sex offenders that maintain surveillance in the bathroom. Not the entity that knocks quietly, oh, it's the janitor and we need to get in. The janitor is monitoring with the city of Ontario, and the janitor is engaging in activity creation, and that is psychologically harmful, no matter its form, to the targeted individual who's not hallucinating or imagining anything like the entity defames with when they are engaging in this pattern of conduct. This is the sex offender that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. The fake sun also, by the way, my documentation proving that David Quinones and Mr. Fugate, the Stater Brothers manager in Fontana, California at 8828 Sierra Avenue, where the fake sun is over me at the same exact time at 7:30 a.m. as I documented, which is the venues where I'm being targeted by the commercial airline companies, where they are deviating far from any sort of operations regarding the airport. This is speaking to direct knowledge about who I am and what's going on, including my presence in the bathroom, which is monitoring me, and which is threatening, psychologically harming, and invading my privacy in an inhumane manner as an entity. The specific environment is also the direct evidence speaking to the psychopaths that engage in seeking to break into a private space where they're monitoring and stalking you in furtherance of murdering you, and engage in that method of activity creation like they are at Stater Brothers, where the government is stalking me with commercial airline companies. The fake sun present at 6:40 a.m. and under the same entrance. The fake sun present at 4:40 p.m. This is what is documented, and this remains on the record regardless of daylight savings time. It will never reconcile what is the maintenance of a fake sun that is staying at the same address, even appearing underneath a covered structure. This is all manner of impossible, where the entity is specifically knowledgeable about who you are and where you're located when they are stalking in the path, engaging in activity creation using the keypad while they're tracking your steps in the bathroom, knowing what you're doing, especially pertaining to anything happening in this private space, but specifically pertaining to your genitalia, where they're stalking with activity, where they're stalking with light, and where they're stalking with the government that's maintaining plain activity that's going to put every sex offender that is systematically monitoring, such as Stater Brothers, in federal prison with a criminal record as a violent sex offender. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:18 a.m., Saturday, April 18, 2026.